What's up? Oh, we made it. We made it. Okay, you guys, hold on one second. I'm going to tell you why I'm at Starbucks in a second. Okay, first, my sweatshirt is on the wrong thing. How are you guys and how is the sound? How is the sound? Let's do this upright. You think I'd have my stuff together? You think I'd have my, how's it good? Sounds good? It's so good to be back. So good to be back. I've been gone for a couple weeks, but we are here. And although it is not Tuesday, it's Monday. I have to do it on Monday. I have to do it on Monday because I have no internet. I have no internet. Anyways, welcome to Untangled episode 41. Hopefully, we'll get some people joining us here. Yeah, well, thanks you guys for being here. So the reason I'm doing this on Monday is because I just moved into a new place on the 31st of March. And the new place that I moved into had never been rented before. It's a standalone cottage that the owners used as a second home. And for whatever reason, they never installed wires for internet. And they did not let me know. So they, for some reason, thought that wasn't a piece of information that should have been told to the renter. And so I just did a basic self-installation when I ordered my internet, thinking that you get to a place that you're renting and, you get the self-installation kit, you turn it on, everything's good. And, you get internet instantaneously. Well, that wasn't the case. My internet people came and they said, well, not only do we not have installation, not only do we not have an order to actually physically install, but this address that you're living at is the same address as your owner's address. So there's like two houses on the same property, and the owner's house is way further up in the property, and then my house. And so there had to be a separation of addresses before they could come back out and set up the internet. And they have to wire the entire house with the fiber optic. And so I didn't have internet and don't have internet until tomorrow. And so they're coming tomorrow morning, which is Tuesday, during Untangled. So that is why I am doing Untangled this morning, Monday, right now. So that is the quick synopsis of, and that is why I am in Starbucks. It was really amazing to meet you, Heidi. And this too shall pass. Everything passes. Everything works out. Everything works out. So it's really good to be here with you guys. Untangled will go back to Tuesdays at 9 a.m. starting next week. But I didn't want to pass another week up. I wanted to get on here and connect with you guys. So, hello. How are you all doing? How are you? Sarah, Marzi, Romaine. Hi, Lars, Deanna, witchy kind woman. Witchy kind of woman. How are you guys doing? How's life treating you? Hi, Michael. Loved meeting you in London. What a trip. So today's intense, a lot of emotions from the past, peaceful and uncertain, super good, holding up, kind of heavy. I want out. How are you, Lori? It was nice to see you on Patreon yesterday. Yes, thank you, Wisdom Warriors, for being there with me. It was a lot of fun connecting on Patreon, Yanni. Money stresses, low energy and dreaming, frustrated. I feel crazy. I loved meeting you in Gothenburg as well. First day of my moon, I feel stuck in life. I flew into a rage last night, feeling heavy about it. Oh, compassion, compassion, compassion. Hi, Helen. What is your date again for Toronto? Okay, so let me quickly go over my two live events that are going to be up and running. I'm going to be I'm going to have an in-person event in Miami May 20th, and an in-person event in Toronto, May 24th. So we're just confirming all of that, and it will be up in a couple of days. Really excited to see more of you guys in person. So where do I begin? Where do I begin in what I've been going through? First of all, one of my deepest intentions of showing up on the planet at this time, especially as, I guess, a label you would use for what I do, is a teacher, right? I teach, but I believe it's more of a remembrance. It's one of the things that really hit me. I went to Europe for 2 weeks to do a book tour. I wrote a book, for those of you that don't know, and it's called The Divine Design. And it's about the history of humanity and Earth and what we are in right now and how we are evolving into a new human, the new states of consciousness, right? The awakening process. There's so many different words that you can use for this. But one of the things that I really noticed on this 2-week tour, I went to 5 different countries and did 8 live events, and it was absolutely incredible. One of the most incredible parts of it was just meeting so many of you in person, eye to eye, hugging you, and recognizing when we were in the room together just how connected we all actually are, and that there is this soul recognition that happens when we come together in person. It's one thing. Do I talk about the Anunnaki? A little bit. I don't go into detail about the Anunnaki, but they're in the book. They're in one of the chapters. Um, One of the things that's so powerful about what we're going through right now is that there is a soul recognition that we came down here as consciousness and incarnated for this time, to be here now. There are no mistakes. There are no accidents. There are no fuck ups. We didn't just haphazardly find ourselves in a human journey, suffering and trying to figure this whole thing out, losing our minds, right? There is this deep, deep cellular DNA knowingness that we came here for this time. And when I was during doing my tour and in the room with all of you, with so many of you at the same time, there was this sense of family. I didn't know any of you personally, and you guys didn't know each other personally. You're sitting next to somebody, but there was this knowingness of like, I know you. I know why you're here. You're here for the same reasons that I'm here. And it's a powerful, powerful experience. And a lot of us are like, well, what am I here for? Why am I here? And we get caught up. There's a deep, deep state of suffering for so many of us right now because we are awakening into the recognition that we came here for something so much bigger than perhaps what we believe we are being in or doing. And so we want to be being or doing something different. And yet the deeper lesson in that is that simply being in this human experience right now is the mission, is the reason, is the purpose, right? But it makes sense that there is that state of wanting to find out what you're doing here and why you're here, because there is a specific reason for you being here, which is assisting humanity in this massive evolution. And one of the ways that we step into the purpose, the mission of being here, right, as consciousness, which is what you are consciousness, right? You are not physicality. You are not the human. You are not the body. Your consciousness, your awareness, your light, your God. One of the ways in which we step deeper into that remembrance, and one of the ways that we step out of suffering, which so many of us are in, and the suffering is the not wanting to be in what you're in. That's suffering, wanting to be out of what you're in. And the irony of that is that it is actually in the state of suffering that you free yourself. You start to become free when you stop trying to get out of what you're in, which is that you start surrendering into or allowing what you believe to be suffering. You're trying to wiggle out of, you're uncomfortable in your own skin. You are fighting and resisting against what is. You're trying to control and maintain some sort of state, some sort of emotional state, some sort of thought process, some reality that you're trying to create in the external world. And that's all part of the deep programming that we are deprogramming ourselves out of. We're learning how to break free from the illusion that we are in a state of suffering, right? We are learning how to break free from the beliefs that we are all of the amazing and powerful and intense thoughts that move through our mind every second of every day. We're learning how to understand that emotion is simply energy moving through the body. And most of us have stored emotion, stored energy in the body that is being rattled right now and felt in very intense ways. And we are recognizing that there is nothing to run from. There are no emotions that need to be suffocated, stuffed down, hid, changed, fixed, ignored, or bypassed, because we aren't the emotion. We aren't the emotional states. And simply doing this, simply recognizing this, simply allowing what is arising is what pushes you deeper into why you're here on the planet. It pushes you deeper into your true self, your highest expression. It pushes you deeper into freedom and peace and calm and contentment. It pushes you into that by you no longer running from it. And so one of the things that I've been asking myself, right, is I want my desire, right? And yes, it's an attachment perhaps, but my desire in life right now is to be able to stand in anything and not be rattled. Rattled being anything that pulls me out of a state of calm or peace, alignment. This does not mean that I don't feel stress or anxiety or worry or sadness or anger. Okay. I have absolutely no intention of not feeling whatever wants to arise. I am not saying to myself, I want to feel peace all the time. Where's peace? I want to feel calm all the time. Why am I not feeling calm? I want to feel high vibe all the time. Why am I not feeling high vibe? Why am I not in joy all the time? Why am I not in love? I want to get to these beautiful states. I never do that. Never. I allow whatever is arising to be felt and experienced. And I'm okay with that because I know that everything's in flow and everything's moving. And so whatever I'm in right now, I'm not going to be in an hour or 2 hours. How do I know that? Because I'm constantly living in a state of flow, which allows everything to just move. Feeling everything, allowing it to move through me. But what I do choose, what I am intending, what I am asking is that when something intense does arise into my world, like I have no internet for 6 days and I work online and I have to cancel things, I have no heat in my house right now. I have no heat. I have these portable heaters now that I have to use in order to heat up my house because I have no heat until tomorrow. Like, how do I allow these things to not pull me out of knowing that I am safe to experience it, that I can experience it, that when stress and anxiety and worry arise, that I can simply observe it and allow it to move through me. And it doesn't rattle me out of. Rattling me out of means that I grab the stress, I grab the anxiety, I grab the worry, and I try to control it. I try to make sense of it. I try to figure it out and like resist and restrict what it is I'm experiencing, right? My body will naturally go into the nervous system will be disrupted in a way like a tornado when I feel anxiety and stress. Oh, you have no internet. Excuse me, come again? What? Yeah, you have no heat. Excuse me, come again? What? Like, what do you mean I have no heat? Like, what do you mean there's no internet? Like these super stupid little things, right? But they can rattle somebody that is used to having heat or that is used to having internet, right? used to having cellular service. Like the phone doesn't even work for the most part. The nervous system will start to get disrupted. You can feel the stress and anxiety moving. My intention is that, yes, this is arising. Yes, my body is feeling this, but I don't need to run from it, and I don't need to attach to it. I don't need to figure it out. How can I still stay in alignment where I am also experiencing a sense of calm? Everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to move. Everything's going to be taken care of. Right? It's an energetic awareness. It's very, very difficult to describe. It's very difficult to teach, right? Because I'm learning it as well, but that's my intention. And so the more that I am intending to not be rattled or pulled out of alignment, which means, again, I'm feeling everything. I'm allowing stress, anxiety, worry. I'm allowing those things. There's nothing wrong with that. If there's an experience that arises that creates a sense of anxiety, that's okay. A sense of stress, that's okay. What I need to be aware of for myself is, can I observe the stress? Can I observe the anxiety? Can I observe it all and not let it pull me, take me down stories, get me into a state of such distress, that that I'm allowing the stress and the anxiety to now lead the way. Okay. It doesn't mean that I don't take action. Right? I took action. I was on the phone with AT&T for 2.5 hours. I called Comcast. I got, heaters that you can plug in. Like, I took action. I didn't just sit back and say, well, I'm just going to wait for something to happen. Everything's in movement and in flow, right? No, I took action, right? But was I able to take action from a state of receptivity? Was I able to take action from a state of presence? No. Most of the day, I was not in presence. Most of the day, this was on Friday when I moved. Most of the day, I was stressed, freaking out, right? In a lot of disharmony. I couldn't eat all day. Like, I was taken. Stress and anxiety took me for a ride. The interesting thing about stress and anxiety taking me for a ride that day is that I was aware. Right? I was aware. I was aware of what I was experiencing. I was aware of what I was in. I was aware of I was allowing to pull me. I was aware of all of that. Just because you're aware of it doesn't mean you don't still experience it. Just because it's coming up, right, doesn't mean you have to be pulled by it. We are learning, I am learning, you are learning how to be in this experience and not run from it, and not let the stories of the anxiety and stress and worry and pain and heartache take you for a ride. And taking you for a ride means it's got you on a leash, right? And it's making you feel unsafe. It's making you feel out of control. It's making you feel like like you're in something that isn't right. You shouldn't be in these things, right? Every moment that you are being rattled, because I'm definitely being rattled over, and I was rattled in Europe on my European tour. I was rattled so many times. So many things happened where it was like, oh, this happened. Your flight got canceled. There's no flights for 3 days, right? Like, what? Come again? I was in Hamburg, Germany, and I needed to get to Gothenburg to get the next day to do an event. And it was like, oh, your flight's canceled. And ps.com, there are no other flights to Gothenburg for 3 days. Excuse me? What? They're like, talking to the concierge, and he's like, yeah, we can do like a private jet. I'm like, a private fucking jet? Who does that? I'm like, private jet? No. We're not doing private freaking jets here. I need to get to freaking Gothenburg. Like, what am I going to do? And like for about 20 to 25 minutes, there was a lot of anxiety and stress moving through my body. That's normal. That's the nervous system experiencing the experience. There's nothing wrong with the nervous system having those experiences. There's nothing wrong with you feeling stress and anxiety and worry and anything else. There's nothing wrong with that. It is not low vibe. It's not bad. It's the actual experience that is being had on an energetic level. This is what happens when all of a sudden, your flight is canceled. There could be an anxiety. Your luggage is lost. There can be a moment of the nervous system feeling that energetic exchange. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so when something happens in the external world that rattles you, basically what that means is that the external experience pulls you out of a state of presence, a state of flow, a state of ease, a state of calm, a state of peace, which is always here right now, no matter what. And so the practice is that anything that is occurring out there in the external world, can I go through it? Can I go through it? Not try to get out of it. Can I go through it? Not resist it. Okay. Not try to figure out how to not experience it, but how to go through whatever is arising. If you are losing a job, if you're losing a relationship, if you are sick, if you're in disease, like whatever is arising right now for you, you are asking yourself, can you allow yourself to go through this? Okay, not trying to figure out how to get around it, how to not feel it, how to not experience it, how to bypass it, but how do you go through it? How do you go through the storm without letting the storm pull you into the ways in which it wants you to experience it? Right? So if you're going through a divorce, or if you don't have a job, or if you're in a lot of lack, you don't have a lot of money, right? You're going through that. You can't not go through it. You resisting, you restricting, you trying to fight against what is happening, okay, is only going to perpetuate. It's like you're dropping yourself deep into the quicksand and you're like, I don't want this to happen. I don't know why this is happening. This shouldn't be happening. Right? So for instance, let's just say, I mean, I have so many examples, the flight being canceled, not having internet, there's no heat in my place, somebody stealing $1,100 from me during Europe, my luggage getting lost, being gone for 2 days. Like any of these things can pull me out of presence. Any of these experiences can make me feel like I need to figure out and I need to control the situation, right? Stress and anxiety pull you. It literally pulls you out of embodiment. And what I've learned the last couple of weeks is that if I can find presence, if I can pause for a moment and breathe, if I can bring awareness to what I'm in, the answers that I need come in those moments. The answers for what is next come when you settle down, when you soften, when you quiet, when you just sit with what is arising. And what we tend to do is we are fighting so hard against what's arising. We're fighting so hard against it because we don't want to experience it. We don't want to be in it. I don't want to not have internet. This cannot be happening. What am I going to do? How am I going to fix it? Am I going to go to a hotel? How, am I going to find a friend's house? Like there's an anxiety around that, as opposed to, okay, I don't have internet. I don't even have cellular service. Like I can't get on anything. There's no hotspot. There's nothing, right? So, okay, drop into that for a moment. Instead of fighting against it and letting the anxiety and stress take me, which is what we unconsciously do. This is what it is. What are you in right now that you're fighting against, that you don't want to be in? It is what it is. It's asking you to practice and stop fighting against it. The fighting against it only perpetuates it. It's like a swirling dervish devil, right? It's like you just keep going and going and going and going and going. I don't have heat. Okay. I could fight against it, and fighting against it again is this energetic restriction. It's like, I can't believe I don't have heat. How am I supposed to do this? Like, this landlord needs to get heat in this house, and how dare he? And, you know, what am I going to do for the next 3 days? And how am I going to keep my house warm? And that's the anxiety and the stress grabbing you. And all that does is perpetuate the fact that you don't have heat. The truest expression is dropping in. Wow, I don't have heat. Okay. All right. One step in front of another. First step, right? Just go get some space heaters. Get present. Just get present. Wow, my flight got canceled. I have no way of knowing how I'm going to get to Gothenburg. My event is the following day. You know, stress, anxiety, trying to figure it out. Talk to the concierge. There's an anxiety that's like, grab, figure it out, grab, get out of this. The moment I just dropped in and settled into what is, wow, I may not get to Gothenburg. Okay. Right. Then the moment I do that is the moment that unravels what's next. Oh, your friend Robbie's here. He knows how to get to Berlin. He's going to Berlin. Maybe get a flight out of Berlin. There's a calmness that happens. Finding calm, being in calm in the midst of the storm is one of the greatest gifts we can be practicing right now. Not letting the internal and external world, the experiences that we're having, pull us out of natural states of being, which is calmness, which is flow, which is peace. This is not at all in any way, shape, or form about getting out of what you are in. I do not believe that. It makes no sense to me that I should be resisting, fighting against, or saying I shouldn't be having this. This shouldn't be happening right now. I should have internet. Okay, I don't have internet. This is happening. It is pointless and it is a waste of energy to say this shouldn't be happening. I can't believe this is happening. It is happening. Stop using excess energy, Lori, to fight against what simply is. Go with the flow of what is arising as much as you don't want it to, and watch how you drop into a sense of ease and grace in the midst of something that doesn't feel good. The world, your internal world and the external world, is going to become what feels like more chaotic. Why is it going to feel more chaotic? My life, since I set the intention of I want to practice and be able to be in anything. I want to be able to go through anything on the planet, internally or externally, and not get pulled out of alignment. Guess what's been happening? Pummel after pummel after pummel. Thing like the movers were supposed to come on Thursday. Thank you, Rachel, for that. Raquel, thank you, Raquel, for the super chat. The movers were supposed to come on Thursday, the 30th. They had it down for the 31st. I had these things planned on the 31st. I had to cancel them. Like, nothing has been kind of going right, so to speak. All in order to allow me to continue to practice how to be in things that feel uncomfortable, so that I can continue to practice being in an aligned state of calmness while things are unraveling that don't feel right, that shouldn't happen, that pull me out of ease, that pull me out of contentment, that pull me out of calm. Because these things are happening to us, you guys, so that we can see that we have been running our entire lives from life. We've been running from life. We have been trying to stay in a state of control. Thank you so much for the super chat, witchy kind of woman. Thank you. I appreciate it. We have been running from life. We have been trying to control it. We have been trying to create it. We have been trying to be the way we want life to be. We've been trying to be the way we've been told to be. We have to be this way. It should look like this. It should look like that. You know, I'm telling you, life is going to continue. It is going to continue to pull you into states of being out of control. It's going to continue to move you into states of uncomfortableness. It's going to continue to show you all the ways in which you have felt unsafe in this world, so that you can realize and recognize that none of that is true. This awakening process, you know, it is not just about this this external world of like the financial system collapsing and, you know, aliens here saving us and helping us and assisting us, and you know, the corruption in the governments and the horrific sex trafficking that's going on and the pedophilia in the Hollywood industry and all this crazy shit that's going down that is real. That is not just the awakening process. That's one layer of it, and that is not the most important layer. The most important process of this awakening that you're going through is breaking free from the programming. And the programming is that you are this physical reality. The programming is that you are your thoughts. The programming is that you are your emotions. The programming is that you have to stay in a state of control in order to feel safe. That you have to stay in a state of control in order to feel safe. The programs is that you need something external to bring peace and joy and contentment and safety to you. Those are programmed, conditional states that are not our highest expressions, and they are not our natural state of being. Our natural state of being is to be in this physical world, experiencing anything the physical world shows us, knowing that we are safe, free, calm, content, and in flow the entire time. And we are nowhere near that. And so every moment we are being shown, we are given opportunities. Thank you, Gabriella, for that super chat. We are given opportunities every single moment, allowing us to break free, allowing us to become empowered, allowing us to realize, holy shit, I am resisting, restricting, fighting against what is. Why? Because I don't want to be in this. Of course you don't. Of course those thoughts are coming up. Of course you're trying to get out of that emotion. Of course. So the steps are to become aware first. Wow. This is an internal awakening first. It is, no matter what is going on in that external world. It is small in comparison to what's going on in your internal world, because I can promise you that if you keep going in, if you keep observing, right, if I keep watching myself get pummeled, I keep holding compassion for what I'm experiencing, for what I'm allowing to pull me out of presence, calm, peace, compassion. If I keep watching and observing myself getting pulled out of it, the less I will be pulled out of it. So I'm always saying, bring it, bring on more. I don't want life to just be this like walk in the park, because we are all in a conditioned reality. We are. The more that you try to control something, the more that I try to control something, the more that I want things to be in this cute little pretty box, is showing me the less free I am. The more that I need things to look a certain way and be a certain way, sound a certain way, feel a certain way, the less free I am. The more I can just be in whatever is arising, the more free I am. Is this making sense? So everything is showing us, what are your thoughts that are still dragging you? What are the thoughts that are still pulling you into, I shouldn't, this is good, this is bad. I need to be doing it this way, I need to be doing it that way. What are the emotional states that you're feeling that you don't want to feel? Can you give yourself compassion for those? I was feeling so much stress and anxiety, and I didn't beat myself up over it, but I definitely was like, oh, I should have been in a more aligned state. I should have not been pulled out as quickly. I should have been, right? And then I just observed that. I just observed it. This idea of having compassion for what you're in. There's nowhere you need to get to. There's nothing you should be doing. There is no enlightened state. There is no awakened state that you need to be in. The greatest gift that you can give yourself is to allow yourself to be in what you're in, to pat yourself on the back for what you're in right now, for what you're experiencing right now, for what you're courageously going through right now. That is the highest expression. Anything less than that is you trying to judge and fix yourself when there's nothing to fix. There's nothing to fix. Thank you, Shannon, so much for that super chat. You guys are so awesome. One of the things that happened when I was in Europe, and this was by far the most profound experience I had when I was in Europe. It's not just surrendering, Renata. It's a sense of, because here's the thing about surrendering, right? Okay, surrender. You can't just surrender. Okay, just allow. But I don't want to allow. Okay, perfect. But I don't want to surrender. Perfect. Yes, don't surrender. Don't allow. That is what my friend of mine said this to me the other day. He was like, Lori, what if you just don't allow? Because I was like, I should have just allowed the experience to be okay. And he said, well, what if the higher expression is not to allow? Being aware of not allowing is when you drop into allowing. Being aware that you're not surrendering is when you surrender. Right? If someone were to say to you, can you just surrender into that? It's like, I'll try, but that's the mind. The mind's trying to surrender. The mind's trying to allow. The mind's trying to do it. This state of beingness where it's surrendered into, where you're allowing what is, it's a state of being, and it happens when you stop trying to make it happen. When you stop trying to allow, when you stop trying to surrender, when you stop trying to, be in a certain way, when you simply just allow yourself to be in what you're in its fullest expression. I hate this. Yes, you do. I don't want to be in this. No, you do not. I am fighting against this. Yes, you are. Wow, this is so uncomfortable. The stress and anxiety is so intense. I am letting this pull me. Yes, you are. That's the moment you drop. That's the tiny little moments that you start to embody and be in surrender. It's when we stop trying to bring ourselves into these states. Oh, I need to be surrendered. I need to be, I need to let it go. Go ahead. Let it go. I don't know how, because you're in your mind. Oh, just surrender. You're in your mind. Just allow it, Lori. Just allow it. I can't. Bingo. You can't. Bingo. Be in that. Being the observer of what you are in is the key to everything, because it drops you into the states that you are naturally designed to be in. naturally. Practice it. Practice just simply being aware of being in something you don't want to be in. Be aware of when you say, I should be surrendered in this, or I should be allowing this, and I don't want to allow this. Be aware of that. Give yourself permission to just be in what you're in. Of course, it's not easy because you don't want to be in it. I don't want to wake up every morning in anxiety. Correct. Give yourself that. I don't want to be in the rain every day. I don't want to be where I'm living. Correct. Give yourself permission to be in that. It is a subtle little energetic shift that happens. Give yourself permission for what is. Give yourself permission for the anger. Give yourself permission for the rage. Give yourself permission for the anxiety and the stress. Well, Lori, that's not good because you're perpetuating it. No, you're not. That's a program. This idea that if you give yourself permission to just be in what you're in, somehow you are perpetuating it. No. What perpetuates it, okay, is this idea that you are it and that you need to grab it and you need to figure it out, change it, shift it, and get out of it. Now you're grabbing it and shaking it and trying to do something with it. It's not good. It's not right. I shouldn't be ... Instead of, wow, this is the most authentic expression of what I'm in right now. What's the most authentic expression? I am in my mind and in my thoughts, and they are taking me, and I'm going in this direction, and I'm this and I'm that. Yes. Thank you. Fullest expression. What's the fullest expression of what you're in right now? What's the fullest, most authentic expression? What is it? Voice it. Get it. Stop pretending. We're going to pretend that we're not feeling this way. We're going to pretend that this is, that we're strong and that we can get through this. You're not strong. What if you're not strong? What if you're weak as heck? And being weak is okay because it's not even who you are. You're not weak. You're not strong. You're none of it. You're experiencing all of this with the illusion that you're weak, with the illusion that you have to be strong and you have to get through this and you have to push your thoughts away. You have to change your thoughts. You've got to positive think yourself through these emotional states, and you've got to, blah, blah, blah. No, the most empowered state that you can be is fully allowing yourself to break down in whatever it is you're in. Give yourself permission. Be in this. I'm telling you, whatever you are in, if you can allow it and be it, or be in it, because it's not you, you will start to find God. And God is whatever you want to define it as. God to me is absolute awareness. It is bliss. It is peace. It is joy. It is love. It is contentment. It is compassion. It is calm. That's God to me. God is everything in everything. It doesn't resist a single thing. God is simply allowing everything. Because this God is right here. God is right there. God is in this computer screen. And the more that we are resisting and trying to change and trying to fix and trying to get somewhere and achieve and all of that, those are all beautiful things. But if you're doing it by resisting or fighting against what is simply just arising, then you're constantly going to be chasing life. You're constantly going to be in the hamster wheel, running from life, running from God. Because God or freedom or love or oneness or source or unity, whatever word you want to use, is right here, right now, in the storm. God is the storm. God is the chaos. It is all of it. And the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is to remember and recognize that there truly is nowhere to go. There is no destination. If you are in communities where people are talking about what you need to do in order to ascend, be aware of that. If you are in communities where people are telling you what you need to do in order to evolve, that there is a hierarchy of some sort, that there is a lower than and higher than, better than and less than, good states and bad states, get real curious about that, because that is perpetuating divide and duality. So we are in duality, we are in divide, we are in polarity. And what that means is that we are going to feel good, bad, right, wrong, yes, no, high, low. We're going to feel that. That is. We're going to have judgments. We're going to have attachments. We're going to have programming. We're going to have thoughts. We're going to have emotions. We're going to have trauma. This is the human experience. Try to get out of that bullshit. I call bullshit on anyone that says that they are not experiencing these things. The master is the one that is experiencing it, knowing that they are not it, that they don't have to do anything with duality. You don't have to do anything with polarity. You don't have to do anything with divide, because you're not the divide, you're not the polarity, you're not the duality, you're experiencing it. And so you're simply starting to look at it through the eyes of awe and wonder, like, wow, look at this. There's this idea that this is the right way and this is the wrong way. There's this belief that this is true and this is not true. There's this idea that I'm supposed to feel these things because this is a higher state and this is a lower state. And yet it simply just is God. It's all of it. And the illusion is that I'm supposed to be a certain way when I'm perfect just the way I am. How could any of this be wrong? I've placed myself as consciousness in this insane game called human experience on a planet in an evolutionary shift in consciousness that is happening whether I want to be a part of it or not. And anything or anyone that is telling you that you have to do it a certain way, be aware of that. Anyone or anything that is saying that you have to, heal in order to do this or process in order, like any of that. You can't have a bad day. You can't have, bad thoughts. Bullshit. Fuck that. Excuse my language, but abso-fucking-lutely not. Resisting any part of the human experience because there is some sort of conditioned judgment around it is such utter bullshit. Now, if you attach to it, we've got an issue, right? If you attach to the thoughts, I am a bad person, I am negative, I am anger, I am sadness, I am bipolar, I am these things. If you are attaching to the thought forms, then you will perpetuate those thought forms as you, and you will continue to perpetuate that reality. If you believe you're these emotional states and you attach to them, then yes, you're going to perpetuate them. Which is why there are people and systems and programs that say, you have to change your emotions, you have to change your thoughts, you have to change these things because you're believing yourself to be them. A higher state of being is recognizing that you are not the thoughts or the emotions, and so there's nothing to change. That's freedom. That's empowerment. That is a way different and new way of being in this world, that you don't actually have to change a single freaking thing because you aren't it. That's awareness. That's God. God is not saying, awareness is not saying, you better change that in order to be a better person. You better not have those thoughts. You better make sure that all your trauma's cleared before you're a healed person. God and awareness is just like, wow, you're a badass. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that one. Holy shit, look at that emotion. Oh my God, look at how that thought controlled me and just pulled me into a completely long storyline for the last 3 days or 3 hours. If you attach to it, then yes, you're perpetuating it, you're creating it as your reality, and it's going to continue to be in your world. But if you do not attach to it, if you know that it is not you, which is why you become the observer. When you observe what you are thinking, when you observe what you are feeling, when you observe it, you break free. When you observe it, you realize that there's nothing to freaking change. There's nothing to change when you observe it. The observation changes it and shifts it because you step into flow. When you start observing and detaching from the idea that you are the emotions and thoughts, that you are the experience you're in, is the moment you drop into flow state. You cannot move yourself through the mind into flow. Thank you, William, for that super chat. You can't move yourself into flow by saying, I'm going to move into flow. Flow naturally happens by being the observer, by simply allowing. People create their realities because they are attached. They are attached to what they're experiencing. So the mind is that powerful. Of course, you're creating your reality, right? Because you're believing what the thoughts are. And so if you believe the thoughts are going to create your reality. Something deeper happens when you recognize that you're not your thoughts. Then you start just being in life. Then life is just showing you what's next. It just shows you what's next. The deeper state of being on this planet is not, I need to create my reality. The deeper state is, I'm going to allow life to show me what's next. I'm going to allow. So this whole idea of us creating our reality is true when we are still attached to our thoughts and our emotions. And it's very true. It's very real. You will create realities forever when you are attached to your thoughts, because you're going to change the thoughts into new thoughts. And those new thoughts you're going to focus on, and that's going to create your reality. And you're going to shift your emotions and you're going to change your emotions. But you are still resisting and fighting against what simply just is. You're still trying to control. And it works. It makes sense, but it's not your highest state of being. It's not the truest expression of you. It's not your natural state. Your natural state is to just jump into this life, to recognize you're none of it, and to go on the ride and to choose, how do I want to be next? What do I want to experience next? You have to drop into allowing before you choose. If you choose and take control before you're simply allowing what is, then you are still chasing. You're still running from. It works. It's fine. It really is. There's nothing wrong with, taking control, changing your thoughts, changing your emotions. Right? Here's what I want to share with you before we go, because I have 8 minutes left. Yeah, I'm sure there's people listening to me. I'm sure. But also people are in their own worlds. We're so in our minds that we don't even recognize that somebody's at Starbucks like screaming at their laptop. All right, I want to share. God, there's so much I want to talk about. Okay, so when I was in Europe doing my book tour, this is the most profound experience I had. And I want to share this with you because I had an experience yesterday that was profound as well. Okay, so hi Kiki, welcome. So my first event in Amsterdam it wasn't in Amsterdam. It was in a town about an hour outside of Amsterdam, and it was in a convent that had been closed. And the convent had a church. And when I got there, there was this statue of Jesus. And I've never really seen a statue of Jesus, like a big, huge statue of Jesus. And when I saw the statue of Jesus, my whole body started vibrating and moving into this really intense high frequency. And I was like, oh my God. So I had a friend of mine, Joey, who was doing a documentary of my experience. And so he was filming me the whole time. And I was like, I need to go outside. Yes, situations happen for us. Everything happens for us. Absolutely. I went outside and stood in front of this statue. And I don't believe that Jesus is the savior. I don't believe that he's the way to God. I believe he was a human that was on the planet, reminding us of who we are. That's what I think Jesus was. I think he was a person that stood on the planet that was here to remind humanity of who they are. That simple. To break them free of the idea that they are their emotions and their pain and their suffering and their beliefs and their thoughts, etc. That simple. my belief. Okay, so I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I can hear Jesus like speaking to me. I swear to God, it was like he was standing there. He was standing there. I was like, I've never felt him so present in my existence. And I just started crying. I'm not religious. I don't follow any religion. I just follow awareness, which is God, which is everything, which is love, okay, which is calm and peace and all of it. It's bliss. Okay, so I start crying because I can feel into his compassion. I can feel into who he was as a human on this planet. And he says to me, um, and he was speaking to me, but he was also speaking to humanity. He said, humans are suffering. Humans are suffering. He said, every moment is an opportunity that you have to open humanity's hearts. Every moment is an opportunity that you have to open humanity's heart. And when he said that to me, I felt something embodied within me, almost like, it doesn't matter, Lori, what you say. It doesn't matter what you teach. What matters is how you are showing up, how you are being. How do you stand in front of another human and see them? Do you see the other person in front of you? Do you hear them? Instead of standing in front of another person and trying to change them, fix them, you already know what you're going to say before they're done. You're triggered by them, right? And so you want to react. You're holding firm boundaries because they're not nice, and they're this and they're that, right? They're frustrating you, they're annoying you, whatever it is. They're not doing things the way you want. I don't know what it is, right? But the deeper message of what he was trying to get across to me was, do you see God in everyone? Can you see the suffering in another human's eyes? Can you see beyond the illusion of who they think they are and who you think they are? How are you being, Lori, with other humans? And what was so profound for me is that I was about to go into a talk, a 2-hour talk. And it was so obvious that this message was about me just being with the humans, with humans. And that every single human that came up to say hi to me, I saw them. I saw their light. I saw their soul. I saw their spirit. I didn't see what was coming out of their mouths. I saw them. I saw their suffering. And every single human that I came in contact with from that point forward, that I signed a book for, or I got a picture taken for, I hugged with all of my heart. I hugged them, and I looked every single person in the eye. And there's two things that happened that night when Jesus said that to me. Okay. When he said about suffering, and I embodied this awareness, I embodied this. There was a woman that came out into the foyer where we were standing. She was just standing there for a little bit. And I was just doing my thing, and I was talking, and I was sharing with Joey and this other woman what was happening and what I was experiencing. And she started to walk a little bit more into my field of vision. And she stood there, and I looked over at her, and she says, "Do you think that I could get a hug later?" And I said, "Well, why don't I just give you a hug now?" And this is in front of the Jesus statue, okay? And so I walk over and I hug her. And in that moment of hugging her, I could feel something bigger than me engaging with her. It wasn't the little Lori that's the teacher, that wrote a book, that does videos. It was something much bigger. And when we pulled away after the hug, she looked at me. I looked in her eyes. She looked in my eyes. This is all on video, so I can't wait to share it. And she started to cry. really cry. And she says, I almost didn't make it. Um, I almost didn't make it because of you. I'm able to get through my days. And when she was talking, and I don't exactly know what she was saying, but when she was talking, I saw her suffering. And I saw her through the eyes of like a God. I saw her through the eyes of love. It wasn't Lori Ladd looking at her like, oh, I'm so amazing. I'm a teacher and I impacted you. That was not who was looking at her. There, it was like soul to soul, consciousness to consciousness was expressed. It was one of the most profound experiences I've ever had in my entire life. And I felt like the essence of who Jesus is or was, right? This Christ consciousness, this love, this we are all one kind of energy came into my body. It came into my body. And I was able to stand there with this woman in all her pain and see her. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because this is, fortunately or unfortunately, how we're designed to be with ourselves and how we're designed to be with other humans. And so one more story and I got to go. Fast forward to right here, right now, where I'm in my new place. And I've got a landlord that is a little bit challenging to deal with. Okay, I'm not going to give the specifics, but he's an amazing human soul, right? Human and a soul and a spirit and consciousness. But there are some things that are a little difficult at times. And he came over yesterday and was at my balcony, and we were talking about something. And there was a part of me, the little Lori, that wanted to get frustrated and that wanted to push away and hold firm boundaries. And I didn't. I stood there and something came through me again, or in me. Didn't come through me. It was me. It was activated. And it was, again, this like consciousness like God. It was this love. It was something bigger than little Lori. And I started to see him, and I started to see his pain. And I just stood there and held space for suffering and pain to be seen by me. Can I see his pain that he believes he's in? Can I look into his eyes and see the suffering? You know, he had just lost his wife of 40 years 3 weeks ago. And I was present. I was just there. I was present. There is something so profound that can happen when you can do that. And it's not easy. It doesn't mean that I didn't hold firm boundaries, because about 5 minutes later, I was like, I've got to go now. So I hold firm boundaries. I protect I don't protect, but I don't allow danger. I don't allow disrespect. I don't allow any of that. But I allowed him to be seen. And that is the second time that actually happened since the Jesus statue. And I can't help but share this because I believe that this is why the awakening process within ourselves is so powerful and important. Because the reason that you and I are on the planet is not to save humanity. The reason that you and I are on the planet, and it's not to step out of these corrupt systems. That's going to happen naturally. The reason that you and I are on the planet is to be able to awaken the hearts of humanity by seeing and holding space for who these humans think they are. Not trying to change them, not trying to tell them what we think they should or shouldn't be doing, but to bring ourselves into such a allowing space, a heart space, which is not easy, where you can see the other individual's spirit, where you can see the other person beyond the illusion of the human, their triggers, their traumas, their suffering. And this isn't going to be easy. This isn't going to happen overnight, but this is what we're here to do. This is how you change an entire planet. This is how you shift an entire planetary body. This is how you shift humanity. This is the evolution. And if we can't do that for ourselves, how are we going to do it for others? So how are you going to look at yourself through the eyes of compassion all day long? As if God is looking at you. And then how are you going to try to do that with the humanity, with other humans? And the more we do that, the more everything breaks down, and the more we heal this planet, and the more unified we become in all our uniqueness, and the faster we evolve. And there's nothing easy about it, right? And there's nothing easy about what you may or may not be going through right now, but everything is bringing you into a deeper state of presence, of heart, of love, of surrender. And you also get to say, screw you. I don't have money right now. I don't have this. I can't survive. My wife is leaving me. My husband. Yes. Can you have compassion? Can you see yourself through the eyes of compassion? That's it. That's all you need to do. See yourself through the eyes of compassion. Let that be enough. And let that change you and let that change the world. Can you just simply have compassion for yourself right here, right now, in everything you're going through, and not try to change it and make it wrong or make it bad? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing bad about you. There's no mistakes in what you're in and what you're going through. You get to have every single experience, every single emotion, every single thought, every single way that you want to get out of it and that you want to change it. Yes, 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 yes. Allow it, allow it. Yes, keep going. Yes. Nothing wrong with you, my friend. Nothing. You're learning compassion. You're learning compassion. So with that, I'm going to go. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I will see you next Tuesday at our regular time. We will be back on schedule. I will be in Chicago next Tuesday to do the Untangled. But I will be here with you 9 a.m. And if you want more of this juiciness, please check out my Patreon community. There are so many of us all around the world that connect every week online on my Patreon community. It is such a beautiful, beautiful way to just stay connected to what this is and what we're doing. We do meditations, we do coaching calls, we do sessions, free sessions, we do a channeled message. And I'll leave the link down below in case you're curious. I'd love to have you in that community. And that's it for now. I love you. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with others. Have compassion for yourself. I'll see you next Tuesday, 9 a.m. Bye.